Hi, I'm Beth Pittman Trussell, and I am here to share with you what Christian leadership means to me. 7 weeks ago, I entered the class Intro to Christian Leadership and was posed with actually the exact same question of what Christian leadership meant to me. And although I'd like to say, and probably this will be much to my instructor's chagrin, that I haven't really changed my view on what Christian leadership is and what it really means to me. Although all of the classwork and through the study, things have helped to deepen and add to the depth of knowledge on my definition of Christian leadership, but hasn't really gone to change it to some other form of the definition that I had. When I did the original research on this question, I checked out the Center for Christian Leadership's website, and they gave a definition as this: the dynamic relational process in which people under the influence of the Holy Spirit partner to achieve a common goal in serving others by leading and leading others by serving. And I believe that I can take that on and incorporate that as my own personal definition of Christian leadership. We've studied many approaches to leadership. All of them have, your basic leadership principles, but the different approaches would be more geared towards a secular setting. While I feel like that Christian leadership can equip us both to lead in the Christian arena as well as in the secular arena. And although we have discussed many of the approaches, anywhere from the Attrayed approach, the authentic leadership approach, the transformational leadership approach was the closest that I could integrate into my definition of Christian leadership. But what I come to understand Christian leadership is that it's servant leadership. And that was the example that we would follow, we could follow by Christ. And there's so many components of where that this is talked about in scriptures. The first is Mark 10, 42 and 45, 42 through 45. And it says, Jesus called them together and said, "You know that those who are regarded as rulers and of the Gentiles lord over them, and their high officials exercise authority over them. Not so with you. Instead, whoever wants to become great among you must be a servant, and whoever wants to be the first must become slave to all. For even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life a ransom for many." And I believe that is one of the components to Christ's example of leadership, and that of servant leadership. Of course, all throughout the Gospels, it's repeated his example of the washing of his disciples or his followers' feet. Those people that he was in leadership over, his select group, his select team that he instilled leadership skills into, poured into their lives so that they could replicate what they learned and pour it into others, and that others would, and the kingdom would be multiplied. Following Christ is really the nature of the endeavor of multiplication. Leading is developing. Mentoring and training other leaders is the heart of the equation. All Christians are Christians because someone shared the good news of Jesus Christ with them. None of us would be Christians, and none of us would be followers of Christ if somebody had not done that. The foundational element of Christian leadership is therefore servanthood. Those who lead have the express purpose of leading others to lead. When Christ said, "Follow me," He was in essence extending an invitation to all those who would choose to do so, an opportunity to enter in the greatest leadership development. He was extending the invitation for everybody to follow him, for everybody to become a leader, to become fishers of men. And this was an opportunity for the greatest leadership program of all time, I guess you would say. This is it happened. The Bible is chock full of leadership development, just like Nehemiah, where he saw the need and he rose up in the power of the Holy Spirit, and he called upon he gave an invitation to all those people in his country and in his city, the locals, the lay leaders, to come together for one express purpose, and that they would lead in the restoration of the walls in each portion of their city, in each one of their communities. And so then that would be collectively unified for one common goal. His style, Nehemiah's example, always reminds me of great leadership, of those. I can just envision him giving those epic leadership speeches to the troops, to engage them and inspire them and influence them to do what was needed. All throughout television and great movies, we see these wonderful epic speeches that inspired transformation. And Christian leadership inspires transformation. It is actually part of a transformational process. And so that's what I want to leave you with. I don't think that any of us, and I'm just being facetious when I say this, can be great leaders without a great and epic leadership speech. So watch this little video that we've gathered together of about 40 snippets from great leadership speeches that inspired and led a movement.
Will you fight? No! We will run! And we will live!
Shame on you!
This could be the greatest night of our lives. But you're gonna let it be the worst.
And I guarantee a week won't go by in your life you won't regret walking out, letting them get the best of you.
Well, I'm not going home.
We've got too far!
And I'm gonna stay right here and fight for this lost cause.
A day may come when the courage of men fails, but it is not this day.
The line must be drawn here. This far, no farther.
I'm not saying it's gonna be easy.
You're gonna work harder than you ever worked before.
But that's fine, we'll just get tougher with it.
If a person grits his teeth and shows real determination,
failure is not an option.
That's how winning is done.
Believe me when I say
We can break this army here.
And win just one for the Gipper.
But I say to you, what every warrior has known since the beginning of time,
You've got to get mad.
I mean plumb mad dog mean.
if you would be free men, then you must
Fight to fulfill that promise. Let us
cut out their living guts.
1 inch at a time.
And they will know what we can do!
Let no man forget how menacing we are. We are lions.
You're like a big bear, man.
This is your time.
Seize the day.
Never surrender.
Victory or death.
That's the Chicago way.
Who's with me?
Clap! Clap! Don't let him die! Clap!
All right.
Let's fly.
And gentlemen in England, now I beg, shall
No, my name is the Lord. When I tell our enemies that they may take our lives, but they'll never take
Our Independence Day.
As you can see, that those speeches did the trick, and everything wound up being great, and many people lives were transformed because of that one speech. Just a lot of fun. But yes, Christian leadership to me means servant leadership.